Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Night Live podcast from the range with your host, John G. Johnson. Hello. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live here at the range with your host, John Johnson. That is me. I am John, and I specialize in you. I'm a firearms instructor who lives and operates a firearms training facility in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida. We are in the southwest side of Florida between Naples and Tampa. Fort Myers is the closest location to us, and we're in Cape Coral. And I specialize in you. Welcome to tonight's live. If you are new to the live, go ahead and comment. Let us know who you are and what's going on. And if you're one of our, hello, Phil, welcome. Glad you're here, buddy. If you're one of our original ones, just go ahead and let us know and say hello. We like that very much. Got a good one for you tonight. I wanted to put together some stuff. Questions were asked to me the other day about do I carry, how do I carry, when do I carry, and do I carry sometimes and not all the time, and vice versa. I thought, man, that's a good base to put people into. Because there is some stuff people do say they carry, but then you start asking them questions and they'd say, well, I carry, but it's in my purse. I never take it out. I never do anything with it. Or it's in my pocket, but there's not a bullet in it. And you start questioning stuff. So it becomes something. So tonight's live, it may insult some people tonight. It may question you a little bit. I want you guys, if you can, for me, to get a piece of paper and give yourself points for one side or another, a positive point and a negative point. And I want you to, at the end of this, kind of tell me where you are on this thing. So, the hard truth is that a lot of people say they can still carry. But when you really look at their day-to-day life, they're not. There's just no way they are. I'll be honest with you guys. I went for years not carrying. And then I turn around and I know I teach concealed carry. But when you're kind of a big guy, it's not very positive. It's not very easy to carry on a regular basis. We have this thing called... What did Justin Timberlake? A wardrobe malfunction is what happens. If you're not wearing a belt and you got a gun on your body, sometimes that belt does not work really well, and you can slip your pants down. I've had a little bit of issues because I got no acetol. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, no acetol, but I got a guttatol, and my gut sticks out further than my asses do. I think that's called a dicky do. You ever heard of a dicky do? Your belly sticks out further than your dicky do. So that was one of my father's favorite things. You got a dicky do going on there, son. You lose it. So we're going to break down the difference between being armed and being ready. And because if your gun is sitting in the nightstand while you're running errands, you're not ready to carry. You're not ready. If you haven't trained, haven't practiced your draw, really, that's a good one too. If you haven't made any parts of it being your lifestyle, then you're not really truly prepared. This isn't about guilt, guys. I don't want you to think I'm being this person, because I can tell you, to this day, once in a while, Mama Johnson and I will go somewhere on a Sunday morning and I forget to put the gun in my pocket. And I carry almost every day, but sometimes I forget myself. So I don't want you to think I'm putting myself on a higher pedestal than you. I just want you to be aware of what this is and maybe, just maybe, change a little bit of your mentality to get you. So this isn't about guilt. This is about growth. And I'm going to give you 10 positives and 10 negatives. And I want you to mark them on a piece of paper to tell me where you think you are. Uh, if you're already doing all the stuff that we give you the 10 positives, well, congratulations. And I want you to double down on that as much as possible. But if you're not, tonight's the night. Let's fix this. Let's fix this and make it better for us. If you're just getting started carrying, I understand your hesitation and everything around that, because it is awful. People are still nervous and new. And I don't really think you should carry until you feel very confident. Thank you very much for the guys that are here, the 10 people that are watching right now. That's awesome. Would you please comment and let me know who you are? That way I can have an idea. I never see who's commenting, who's on. I see people watching. I appreciate it very much. But if you have an opportunity to comment, I would love to hear from you. All right, so here is the signs you're actually carrying for self-defense. Now, I put these in no order. I just kind of put them together for myself to kind of give you and I where I think of things. There's no priority of one over the other. Obviously, if I'm missing, so Frank Sims, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you very much. From Facebook, thank you, Frank. Frank, you always. Number one, you carry every day, no exception. If this is you, congratulations. I'm going to tell you who this is. I'm going to tell you who has, since he's been 21 years old, has carried every day. And I don't know a day that he has missed. And this is my baby boy, Jacob Johnson. And I'm proud of him. When he got 21 years old, Jacob got his concealed carry license, and I bought him a carry gun to put in his pocket. And be honest with you, I never carried in my pocket. I always carried a gun on my side. I thought for sure, Stan, thank you very much. And Jose, thank you. Jose Fernandez. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you, Jose. Appreciate you being here. So when Jacob started carrying in his pocket, I was asking him, is it comfortable? Because I used to carry a Shield Plus on my side, or I would carry a Diamondback in a holster, or I would carry Kurt Richards. Thank you very much for being here, Bird. I thank you very much, as always. So, but Jacob, from 21 years old, and he's 25 now, he just turned 25. And Jake has been carrying every day of his life. Now, I don't want to embarrass him or anything else like that, but many years ago, we had a home invasion. And I worked at a gun store at the time. And Mr. Jacob was at home when they broke in. And he was woken up to a gun to his face. And this was at 10 a.m. in the morning, guys. That's why it's so important, you guys. Really, that's why this thing is real close to me. Because when Jacob got woke up with a gun to his face, he, even if he had a firearm, which he did at the time, he would not have been able to use it because it was too late at that point in time. And I really thought that would affect Jacob for the rest of his life. And it did not. He stepped above it. He understood it. We, in the long run, this was a kid that we knew for a long time who told these people about our house. And I worked at a gun store. And Jacob didn't drive at the time, so they broke into our home at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, thinking that no one was home. Now, unfortunately, we just moved into that house, and my safe was not locked, and my range bag was there, and they got a bunch of crap. They didn't really get my good guns, but they got a bunch of crap. And then they woke Jacob up. Thank God the safe wasn't locked. That would have been a real challenge for him. On top of the fact that they took his Xbox. Now Jacob was more pissed off about the Xbox than he was anything else. They took his phone, smashed it on the ground. Jacob was smart enough to be able to call the cops with mom's iPad. They left mom's iPad for some reason. And then within a short period of time, those dummies turned the Xbox on. It got pinged on any kind of server, and they got caught. But I thought for sure that that would change Jacob the rest of his life, and it did not. It actually woke him up more than that. He became more situational awareness. He became more sure of himself, and I believe that's why he's the man he is today. It could have been worse. It could have been bad, but it didn't. But it woke me up to realize that every one of you, that could have happened. And it's how you handle it or how you don't handle it is the survival point. So, not that I wanted to get too deep into that because we haven't, Jacob's okay now, but it really affected us all. We were all a lot. I'll tell you, that night, some lady in a news car came up to our front door, like sat outside before trying to write something down, and then on top of came to the door, and Miss Johnson went crazy on her. About we just went through a horrible thing, and you wanted to put it in the paper, jackasses. It's so stupid. So caring every day is something that I wish I did. It's not because I don't want to, but sometimes I leave here and it's on my table here, or it's not my car, or whatever the deal is. So I do not want you to think that I'm telling you you were bad. You're not bad. You're trying to get better. You're carrying a gun for productivity. You're carrying a gun for your safety and your loved ones. It's part of that deal. Now, any questions you guys are asking, I'm going to answer them at the end of the presentation. It's a lot easier than me to stop. I will say hello to people, but we won't answer any main questions right now. All right, number 2, you've chosen the right gear that is comfortable and accessible, meaning the holster, meaning the belt. I'm going to tell you guys, besides pocket carrying, and no gun should go in a pocket or a purse without being in a holster, so pocket holster. But you need to figure out what's going to work best for you for carry purposes. Holster, belt, firearms are particular for your body type, style, and daily routine. And this is something that you will find that you have a box full of, just like me, a box full of holsters that didn't work, to find the 1 or 2 holsters that do work. And those you double down on or triple down on when they do work. I am a leather guy. I carry a leather holster, whether it's in my pocket with my little 380 or if it's in my holster or my belt. I do inside the waistband is probably one of the inside the waistband more than outside the waistband. I know I'm a bigger guy, but inside the waistband does give us more concealment. That goes against your skin and your belt loop, and it's more the hook itself or the hook that goes on your pants needs to be on the belt itself. And the belt, if you carry with a belt, guys, you'll find that the weight of the gun is very lightweight. It doesn't feel as heavy. Unfortunately, women don't wear belts very often. But I would never recommend, thank you. I would never recommend, thank you, Bear. Appreciate that, buddy. The girls get me that. two of my members. That's a Smith and Wesson American flag. They actually own two equalizers, and they got hooked up with them, and they gave that to me. I appreciate them very much for that. They saw my old Smith and that was getting all sweaty and nasty. Number three, you've tested your gear setup at the range and in dry fire. You know how to draw for concealment safely and effectively. Now, this is challenging for people because if you don't take a class like with us that goes through the sequence, or you don't go somewhere and take a draw class, it's unlikely that most gun ranges are going to let you draw from your holster. It's a safety thing. And a lot of the instructors don't want to be around people who haven't drawn from their holster because it becomes a dangerous thing that they discipline keeping your finger off the trigger. So those top three things so far, if you were doing everything perfectly, you would have 3 points already. Now go ahead and comment and let me know, do you have 3 points? I can tell you this, I do not. I would think I try to carry every day. I have chosen my gear. I've got that point. And I've tested and dry fired at the range. So the one thing I don't do is I have in the past, but the last six weeks or so, I have gotten the habit of, oh, there we go. Frank got 2. Tim's got 2. Congratulations, Frank. So I have 2 myself. So you're doing good, Frank. Number 4, you've taken classes and continued to train. You go beyond the permit. You've gone on beyond the permit, and you've invested your skills and mindset. I can tell you, we offer the enhanced classes once a month. That is a good starting point. We really focus on defensive accuracy. We're going to have one probably at the end of July if you're interested. They are pretty economical. You need about 200 rounds of ammo. It's a Saturday afternoon. And then we go through point shooting and drawing cycles and all kinds of stuff. Those are fun classes because they just wake you up. Because when you think about this, if you are, let's say you are 65 to 70% accurate at the range, which technically would probably be pretty good for most people. No flyers, they're all going where they need to go. You shot out of 100 rounds, you shot 75 rounds, and they've all gone into where you were looking for, the 8-inch paper plate. You're not a bullseye shooter, you're a defensive accuracy shooter. The moment you begin to move with a firearm, you lose about 40% of your accuracy because you can't stay stagnant anymore. You have to. Hey, way to go, Kurt. Kurt's got all 3. Way to go, Kurt. Proud of you, buddy. That's awesome. I expect people to have 3. Again, I'm picking on myself for not doing the 3, but I cannot lie. I did cut the cherry tree down. I'm like George Washington. He did not lie about the tree, and I didn't want to feel like I was pointing fingers at you and not point the fingers back at me as well. So if you haven't taken a lot of classes or continuing your education to train, you're going beyond the permit class and you've invested in your skill and mindset. Number 4 would be something highly recommended if you haven't taken it. Number 5 is a good one because what it does, it gives you a home defense plan and an outside the home plan. And this is kind of things that as a family, you have to put together a couple different things. When the wife and I were little, when the kids were young, and we went someplace like the Bucks game, or we went to Disney World, or we went to SeaWorld, or whatever it was, we always had a game plan of where we would meet if shit hit the fan, where we would go if we got lost from each other, what you would do, Jacob and Johnny, if you could not find your parents. Now, I think I've told you guys the story about Jacob, my baby boy. We were at Busch Gardens, maybe. I can't remember what it was. It was something, Busch Gardens, one of those things. And you were in watching a show, animal show, some kind of show, and they had two ways to go out of the place. You go around this corner or around that corner. Well, Jacob went around this corner and Johnny went around this corner, and all those people were coming out. We were panicked, Heidi and I. We couldn't find Jacob anywhere. We're like, oh my God, we're just thinking the worst. And all of a sudden, I go to the nearest store, and there's Jacob with a lady. Said that he lost his dad, and can I stand here until he was a little guy? And then we found him immediately. I mean, they were like freaking out. We got people, and there was a ton of people. Like Code Adam was going on, but we found him very quickly. But you got to have these plans, man. You got to have the ability. When the kids were little, over the water softener at the house, I took off the screen on that window. And I kind of told the boys at a very young age, if they heard any gunshots in the home or they heard any loud confrontational stuff, Johnny was to go get Jacob, go out the window, and go next door to call 911. And that was just what we set up. And obviously, we didn't have to use it when they were little, and no one was home when Jacob had his issue. But the idea of it was to have those plans. And if you have the plans, you need to kind of remind people about the plans all the time. You have a home defense plan and an outside the home plan. Carrying isn't just about the gun, it's part of an overall self defense mindset. To this day, kids are little, I never, ever back to the door. I'm always facing the door. No matter where we go, restaurant wise or anything else like that. And I know where the exits are, and I know when shit hits a fan, I know the door entries and everything else. Like just I've been doing that for 30. Heidi and I are going to be married 30 years in October. 30 years in October. And we were together 2 years prior to that. I've been telling her that for 32 years. The boys grew up 25, and Johnny's 27, 28, and they all know where dad sits. It's always part of that deal. All right, here's the big one. Now, this is the one that really gets a lot of people in, because I congratulate people for carrying. I congratulate people for getting to training classes. Number 6, you carry a round in the chamber. You don't know how many people they come in here and ask me to help them with something, and they go, I got my gun on me. Can you help me find the right holster for it? And I go, yes, go ahead and pull it out. And then they tell me it's not loaded. No. You have a gun? Yeah, I'm going to rack it when I need it. I get the concept of that, but if you're racking a gun when you think you're going to need it, you're never going to know you need it until it's too late. And you're going to put yourself in a high stress situation that you may not be able to get out of. Carrying a gun without one in the chamber is like having a fire extinguisher in your home with the powder that makes the fire go out next to it. Not inside the fire extinguisher, next to the fire extinguisher. It's like you're taking your tires off your car every night and putting them away. Or in the morning, you have to put them back on your car. These are all silly things. Why are we carrying a gun for our defensive purposes without carrying one in the chamber? You need to remember you have accepted the responsibility to be prepared mentally for defense. That's why you have one in the chamber, because you know you can't protect yourself, your loved ones, or anybody else if you don't have one in the chamber. So you positively have one in the chamber. You have informed your key people in your life, your spouse, your kids, to know the rules. You've taken time to educate those close to you. What this means is if something happens, this is what we need to get to. This is what your job is. John's job was to go get Jacob, go out the window to the neighbor's house, and call 911. Heidi's job is to call 911 or vice versa. My job is to call 911 if Heidi had used the weapon. And it's part of that deal. You need to make sure everyone's on the same game plan. Number 8, you practice drawing and moving. You are going to move naturally in a gunfight. You are not going to stand still. I guarantee if you watch any police, sheriff, high patrol videos, none of those guys are standing still. They're automatic. Our body's going to make us automatically move. So we need to practice getting off the X and drawing and moving and all the things like that. You're not standing still on a static line. You train for real world scenarios. Now, these training can be challenging for students because it's hard for you to practice this without having your own property. But I can give you some advice, and I've done it in the past, and it works really well. Is majority nowadays there are airsoft pistols, blowback airsoft pistols that will match your caliber and style of pistol. It'll fit in your holster. You can set yourself up a little bit of a target range in your garage. The simplest thing to do is hang a sheet, put the sheets into a bucket or 2 buckets, and practice drawing and firing on cardboard. And that ball, the airsoft ball, will go directly into the cardboard, roll down, and into the bucket each time. I'm not sure if they'll be reusable, but they deform a little bit, but it does give you the ability to practice drawing and moving. Dry firing is one thing we do, but with the blowbacks airsofts, that slide is actually coming back and forth. It gives you the ability to get some realization involved in it, and it has you get a little more heart rate when you start challenging yourself to smaller targets. Because remember, the cops themselves do not have to have the weapon concealed when they are firing a pistol, where you have to have the weapon concealed on or about your body with a garment over top of it. So we need to learn to take the garment off with the non-dominant hand, get the weapon drawn with the dominant hand, get the elbow back and cut that first shot at close quarters. Second shot would be mid, and third shot would be full extension. And if you're working on that and the speed, we can go as fast as we need to go, but we need to do speed and accuracy. If we're going fast, but the bullets are all going all over the place and know where they need to go, there becomes a challenge for us, because us concealed carry holders are responsible for our bullet until they hit the ground. When it hurts, maims, kills, or paralyzes, we're criminally, morally, and civilly responsible for it. So being able to practice drawing and moving is something that you need to do, because your body is going to move anyways. It's going to, in a high adrenaline dump, our body is amazing because it will shut down anything it deems unnecessary and focus on everything for survival. So Tunnel vision may be one of the things that it deems necessary, which can take you down to seeing something this small on top of, you maybe not have the most physical strength you have, or maybe your balance is going to be off balance a little bit. And there's a lot of stuff because our body does want to survive any kind of thing. That's what it's designed for. Number 9, you carry a spare mag or a backup mag. I did this for years, guys. I did this for years. I carried a Glock 19. This is the standard, which people do. Big guy. I put a gun on. I put it outside the waistband holster. I had a 15-round magazine in my holster. 15-round gun in my holster, and had a 15-round magazine in my pocket. 2 pairs of shorts. My pockets got worn out. That belt was stretching as hard as it could because you're adding 8 pounds to your pants. Wear that every day. That's why carrying every day is important for us, but we got to find the right pistol and the right works. When I started carrying in my pocket, a lot easier. Got my pants on. I got my gun on. Pretty simple. It's easy to come out of my pocket. We can't count on 6 rounds. We can't. Well, nowadays, with these 365 and all, those are 12 rounds. Listen, having an extra magazine is important. Not for the purpose people think about getting back into the gunfight. A lot of times when a gun jams or when we're having jamming issues with a pistol, it most likely is a bad magazine. And if you have to take the magazine out of your pistol because it is bad, you don't want to be screwing around with it. Just put a new magazine in the gun and get back into the fight. It's normally never just a jam. It's a magazine jam of some kind. And it's easier to worry about picking up your magazines after you've won versus trying to figure out how to get it to shoot with the bad magazine. And number 10, you think about situational awareness before the gun. The best gunfight you can be in, guys, is the one you're not in. You need to avoid trouble first. Carrying is your last line of defense, not your first. And it's so important that too many people get sort of wrapped up in I'm going to go protect the world versus I'm carrying this for my own protection. I use the thing, and I always tell students about that. It's the 3 E's, guys. I want you to remember this if you can. You carry a weapon to evade, escape, or engaged. Evade the fight, escape the fight, and worst is to engage the fight. And engaging the fight starts a whole nother battle for us. So out of those 10, how many did you get? Did you get all of them? Did you get 5 of them? Did you get 4 of them? Did you get 3 of them? This is something you need to look at. Now we're going to go to the minuses. These are signs telling signs you're just telling yourself you're carrying. You've told me you carry. Now this is signs telling you you're just using verbiage. You're not actually carrying. Number 1, your gun stays on the nightstand most days. You tell yourself, I'll carry when I go somewhere dangerous. Dangerous place on the earth. I'm going to carry it when I need it. I'm going to carry it when the aliens come. You never know that. You will never know that. So ideally, why we carry is to defend ourselves. And you can't wait. I wish I had it today. I wish I had it here. I wish I had it there. So if you're not carrying at all, then that is a negative there. You don't carry because it's uncomfortable. There are a lot of things that make a gun comfortable, but nothing's going to make a gun comfortable if you don't carry it. And I think this is more of a mental thing than a physical thing. But there are a few things you can do to invest in, like invest in multiple holsters, finding the right clothing. All right, one of the challenges of most people is they do not dress appropriately nowadays. And when you're wearing tight clothes, carrying a holster becomes even more challenging for you. And I know, guys, your wife has washed your clothes and shrunk them all, just like my wife does. But dress appropriately. One of the neatest things people don't realize, you look at fat guys around town that wear Hawaiian shirts. Most of those guys that are wearing Hawaiian shirts in town are carriers, because that takes the pattern of the gun and it takes the image of the firearm, whether it's on your side, whether it's at 6 o'clock hold, whether it's at mid appendix carry, any pattern shirt, any plaid, any kind of checkerboard, any kind of thing like that will take the outline of the firearm. So we need to make sure that we are investing in the wardrobe, investing in the right holster, and you're going to know it's the right holster. It ain't going to be hard to understand that if it's not. If you can't sit down in a chair, or you have to take your gun off to sit down in a chair, then it's the wrong damn holster. That's why I'm so into leather, because leather will bend and mold pretty good, where Kydex, which is that plastic, does not bend at all. Now we have to be careful with leather, because leather can get old after a while, and it gets stinky because you're sweating and stuff like that. But you have to understand that finding the right holster is a purchase thing. You just got to buy a bunch of them. You go to YouTube and look up the holster, but it doesn't matter if there are videos, holsters for fat guys, on and on and on. Just find the right one's going to work for you. Most of you ladies want to carry a holster. They're not even thinking about carrying on their body, but that's where the gun should be more than anything else, ladies. The first thing stolen from a woman, or you're going to say purse, but I'll say heart. And then after the heart, the purse. And if the gun's in the purse, what have you done? Not only have you lost your purse, but you've lost your firearm as well. So trying to find the right holster is going to work for you is just a time thing. You're going to spend an awful lot of time finding the right one. Number 2 is you don't carry because it's uncomfortable. Number 3 is you never practice drawing from concealment. Now, again, not something that you could do in the local range, but you can sign up for classes. You can get an instructor to walk you through it. You can get friends or family members to walk you through it. Drawing from the holster is a system like anything else, but you have to repeatable do it, because in high stress, reason why I want you guys training on a regular basis is to help you build some kind of muscle memory. And when you are not practicing enough, which, hey, it's the summer, guys. I know it's beautiful outside and the range time, but you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to practice as much as possible. You do not need to come here and shoot 500 rounds for practice. If you stick to 5 rounds at a time and 50 rounds, you can get what you need. Can you imagine if you only drove every 6 months? Now, let me drop you at the Tampa airport that you got to go pick your mother-in-law up, and now you got to drive through Tampa traffic to get to the Tampa airport from Fort Myers. How would you feel about that? But this is what people are doing. They are not spending any time at the range or any time dry firing, right? You're expecting that you're going to understand what you need to do in a high stress situation and get it done. It's not going to happen. If you haven't drawn from the holster and stress, you will fumble. You will not be ready. You can't visually get there without practicing it. Number 4, you rely on your permit class as your training. Do you know how many people come to our Wednesday night group concealed carry class that have never shot a pistol before? Or if they've shot a pistol, it was 8 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or never. Now they're standing in front of me asking me as a firearms instructor to approve them for the conceal. Well, in Florida, all I got to do is tell them about the class, get them to shoot a couple rounds, and that qualifies them. And I use the concealed carry group class as a hook to get people to sign up for some training classes, just to get comfortable, just understand the firearms safety. You know, most people hurt themselves with what they thought was an unloaded pistol. And this is common. People pulling the trigger to see if the gun's unloaded. Do you know I go to gun shows every other month or so. And do you know how many clicks I hear a day at the gun show? People pick a gun up and pull the trigger. Why would you pick a gun up that's on a table, that's strapped, understand, and pull the trigger? It makes absolutely no sense to me, but it's in a brain set here, just like keeping your finger off the trigger. Do you know how many times I have to tell people that at the range? And it's not their fault. It's not their fault that they put their finger on the trigger, because ergonomically, that gun is set for your finger to go where? On the trigger. What do you know? The finger goes on the trigger. We have to work at it. So here's a tip for you. And take this to heart, guys. When you pick a pistol up or you put a pistol down, you make a pistol. This is your pistol. But if you keep your finger up like this when you pick that gun up or set that gun down, your finger will not be on the trigger. Don't remember that. Just remember booger picker, off bang button. Booger picker, off bang button. All right. Most concealed carry classes, and I'm talking about Florida, they are taught you the laws and not how to defend yourself. They taught you the rule. Our class is all about rules and regulations. Our class is about where you can and where you can't, how you can and how you can't. I teach you a little bit of handgun safety. I teach you a little bit of how to unload a pistol properly. And then we go in the back, according to how many students in the classroom, 2 to 4 rounds. And that's it. That qualifies you. Matter of fact, there's places in town, big box stores, that have them shoot 1 round, which I have done 1 round classes before. I'm not saying anything against them. 1 round classes in a closet somewhere, not in a range, and they're using a powderless round and all the other stuff like that. And, you know, I'm not saying Florida needs to put in some kind of procedure for that, because I think the firearm is an equalizer. I think the people who really need a firearm are not the 21-year-olds, not the 50-year-olds. the 75 to 80 and 90-year-olds, that may not be the most accurate people in the world. If we're asking the 75 to 90-year-old people to be super accurate, but we're asking the cops not to be, it becomes a little challenging for us. I just find it funny that you can't buy a motorcycle in the state of Florida and drive it on the streets without taking a full accredited class on motorcycles, but you can buy a gun without any kind of training at all. And the smart people who come to class, not just my class, but smart people realize at the end of it, I might not know everything I think I know, and probably taking a class would be a bad idea. But there are people in the world that think they've got it. They understand it. All right, number 5, you carry off body in a bag or a purse and it stays in there. If you are listening to me, ladies and gentlemen, and you carry an off body bag, and you're not getting it out of there, you're just having it there, you got to remember, I think it's funny that when I used to carry an extra magazine with me, my pocket would be so linted up because it's scraping the pocket inside there that once in a while I have to pull that magazine out, dump all the dirt out of it that goes in my pocket, as well as take all the magazine out and get the cotton fibers out of that magazine because it was just in my pocket and running all around. My pocket knife, the same thing. My pocket knife has always got some kind of cotton fibers all in it and dirt from using it, and it's in my pocket. I don't know how I get so much dirt in my pocket, but I do. And there becomes the challenge. So if you've got a gun in an off-carry bag of some kind, you put a big hurdle for yourself because now you have to identify the threat, make the decision, unzip, unbutton, whatever you got to do to get it out of there and present it to the bad guy. This is why purse carry or off body carry in some kind of bag, holster, briefcase, backpack, MERS. You know what a MERS is? Do you have a MERS? I know one of you got a MERS. Don't lie. MERS is a man's purse, and you're keeping a weapon in there. It becomes so much more less reactive for you because now you have to do all the other stuff before you get the gun out. If you can't draw fast, you can't guard it effectively. And that's the one thing that most people tend to think they're going to have time. The bad guy's going to tap me on the shoulder and give me a 15-minute window. That when they're going to be. It's not a cable guy. Cable guys are here from, what did you tell my wife the other? We moved into a new house. We'll be anywhere from 11 o'clock to 5:30. You'd be home all fucking day. All day. Just nothing to do. Okay. So off body carry, it's kind of one of those things. I've done it before. I used to have a tack bag for it. I thought it was going to be easy. It's just pain in the ass too. And the gun gets dirty. The gun gets a bunch of crap in it. Even though it's in a holster, and all that little crap like that can get inside the gun, the receiver, the barrel, and cause a lot of jamming issues for you. So best place to carry is on your body, guys. Number 6 is you don't carry in public because the fear of social pressure. You let others think what other people think override your safety. Can you imagine? This is Florida, and there are people who hate firearms. There are people who see a firearm and don't see a law-abiding citizen with a concealed carry. They see firearm equals criminal. So don't let others think. Don't let what other people think override your safety. Number 7, you unload the gun when you're carrying it at home. Now, I'll be honest with you. I used to carry the gun at home. I Well, keep in mind I'm a firearms guy, so I have firearms in almost every location in the home. So I don't think I'm going to need to walk too far away. But you who are, it's just kind of one of those deals where I always tell people you got more rooms than you got guns at this point in time. So make sure there are weapons you can get to without taking too many steps. If you're keeping your firearm, the one you use for defensive purposes, in your bedroom, and all of a sudden some jackass throws a brick through your front door, well, you got two options. You either got to go run to your bedroom or run to call 911, or maybe how about grab the gun that's at the coffee table that you got magnet there for your protection. That'd be a lot quicker and a lot faster. But a lot of people do not have a gun loaded in their home, uh, and they're going to load it when they need it again. It seems silly, but you do you, boo. Number 8, you don't have any supportive gear. You don't have a belt. You don't have a mag pouch, no flashlight, no plans. You're unprepared. You took the concealed carry class. You thought that's enough, and now this is what you've got. How is this going to help us in a high stress situation? It won't. It won't. We joke and kid all the time. A safety on a firearm is a crutch. The only safety on a firearm is you. You keeping your finger off the trigger till the weapon fires. Now, there are safeties on pistols. People have them. But if you have a safety on your pistol and you are not manipulating it every time you use it, you are not going to remember it in a high stress situation. If you flip that safety up to put it up in the closet because your grandchildren are coming over, and the next day a bad guy comes in the home, you bring the gun and put it back on your counter. You forgot you put the safety on. And when you go to use it, it locks up on you because you forgot the safety was there. The safety on a firearm is you, not some mechanical piece of equipment that could malfunction or fail. Number 9, you never visually or mentally rehearse a defensive situation. You figure it, I'll figure it out when it comes time. I'll figure out what to do when it happens. What we do a couple weeks ago, I did a YouTube video on the defensive. This is not a defensive strategy, and there was a guy sticking his head in the sand like an ostrich. The ostrich doesn't see the threat, guys. There is no threat, and that's not the way to protect ourselves. Thinking if I don't see it, it's not there. And number 10, you say, I'll just run or call 911. In a life or death moment, you won't have that luxury. And that is true. So if tonight hit a little close to home, that's okay. This isn't about judgment, it's about growth. Carrying a gun isn't something that you sort of do. It's a lifestyle, it's a commitment, it's a responsibility. And if you found your minus side list is more than your plus side, don't beat yourself up about it. Just don't stay there. Make a change, man. The good news, we have the ability, and we have basic pistol classes that we do here. We have firearms training classes. We have defensive training classes. I know most of you guys are watching this from all over the United States, and man, I wish I could get to John. We do have the handgun training system, which is an online training class, that will help you get to the next level. It gives you new drills each week. It gives you targets. It gives you a training plan every week. So there's no more guessing at the range, and it gives you real world training program that will help you get better and better. In the descriptions down below, you can find out that information. We have our website linked down below. And guys, as a firearms instructor who specializes in you, one of the ones we do the most is our ebooks. And those ebooks are about grip and stance and trigger control and sight picture and sight alignment. And if you haven't got one of our free books yet, I'd love to give you one. So in the description down below, there is our full line of ebooks. Pick the one you want, put it in the cart, put free book at checkout, and it's yours for free. Now, guys, those books are on sale for $2.99. They are normally $3.99, so that is a discount for you. And if you want to add a few more into the cart and support a family-owned business like mine, it would not hurt my feelings one bit. And I would appreciate it very much. So I want to tell you to carry smart, train often, and remember the time to get ready is not the moment of crisis. God bless, be safe, and I'll see you at the range. Let's go and answer some of these questions that I received. A lot of good comments. Let's go ahead and come back up. All right. Say hello to Phil. Thank you, Phil. Phil's one of our handgun training systems, and he's actually one of our students from the masterclass. Appreciate you very much. Frank Sims, him and his son uses here at the range. We appreciate you very much. Jose Fernandez, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Frank says it's difficult to carry every day when you work where firearms are prohibited. That is true, my friend. That is true, Frank. Don't do anything stupid and get yourself in trouble, but you need to be aware of the places you go and make sure. That is key. Kurt Richards, thank you very much. Carrying when need, it looks like he carries. Stanley says he carries when he deems necessary. His favorite is cross draw. Works best for me when driving. Very good, awesome. Frank says, what is your thoughts on sticky? I am a big sticky opponent. I like them. I don't like the fact they don't have a clip. I have a buddy of mine, Danny Boy, and Danny has been using stickies for a long time. And I see most guys wearing those stickies are skinny guys, but Danny is a fat boy, and he's never had one slip out or fall out. But the sticky is supposed to stick to your body. Frank, it all depends on what you're going to do. But sitting down and getting up and standing, I've heard the stories of that this sticky can slip after a little bit. So it's kind of one of those. You're going to have to try that yourself. I've sold them. I have them. I like a clip. I think a clip's going to hold it and keep it more stationary. Bear told me I had a nice hat. Thank you. Frank got 2 in the first group. And we have, looks like Jose's got a leather belt and a leather holster from Simply Rugged. For the longest time, love the feel of the leather. Yeah, me too, man. I'm a leather guy. Kurt got 3. Frank's telling me I got a great advice. He's going to add to his training. Thank you, Frank. Good thought on fanny packs, slings. Frank says, what's your thoughts on fanny packs or slings bags for concealment? I've done them all. I can tell you they all. I think the fanny pack is the one that screams the most firearm. The slings are getting to that point too. I just don't think, uh, no matter what happens, you're going to have enough time to get anything out of anything with a zipper or a button or anything else like that. That's why the women are all crazy about these concealed carry purses. But if you don't stage yourself properly, you're not going to get out in time. You never get. And trust me, look at the lion on the Serengeti Plains, right? They don't go out there and chase that top bull. They're hidden in somewhere, and they're only going to know about them when they want you to know about them. So how the hell are you going to get in a situation? You got to identify the threat, make a decision, and engage, right? But wait a minute, you got to identify the threat, make a decision, pull the sling bag over in front of you, unzip the sling bag, get your hand in the weapon, pull it out of the weapon, pull it out, and then engage. You're just putting yourself in a little bit of a. Now imagine you do all that and the gun isn't loaded. Now you have to rack the slide before you do all that. So there's just a big gamble when you're doing stuff like that. So I'm not going to tell you don't do it, Frank. I think however you need to carry it is going to let you carry every day. If that's part of it, then that's part of it. But I would say on your body is probably the best. Majority of people nowadays in Florida are carrying in their pocket. They're pocket carrying. They're carrying a weapon, a mouse gun, for short distances, not for the 15 to 20 round thing they're going to do. Well, I have a Diamondback 9mm that goes in my pocket, and that has 7 rounds in it. I have an extra magazine that comes with me. Not for the purpose of getting into 7-round plus gunfight. It's in case we have a jam or something. The extra magazine will help me get that mag out and put a new one in. Thank you, Frank, for that information. And Frank asked again, dry fire with lasers. Yes, always. Dry firing with lasers will help you tremendously see what manipulation you're doing. Dry firing lasers, you can get a little bullet laser. There's a lot of different stuff, but you can see the manipulation when you rip the shit out of that trigger. You can actually see it because a dot on the wall is a dot. A pull on the wall with the laser is a line. If they are lines, that means that bullet would have been at a downward angle. Very good, Frank. Thank you. Quick release bags. I've seen them. They fold down in front of you like a zip bag. Have seen them. Yes, they work. I'm not exactly sure how well they work in real situations, but there are bags out there. I saw a guy at a gun show a couple months ago that was selling some quick release front face fanny pack style thing. It seemed to be cool and neat. Again, it's not positioning the gun perfectly. So if you have to pull that out, you're pulling it out. Then you got to turn the gun this way to get into it. Unless you stage your body all around where you kind of hide the draw. Just seems like the gun's pointing in the wrong direction. If you're going to get in a situation where the bad guy's in front of you, which is what we should be doing, we should be identifying who we're engaging. If we were to turn the gun out of the holster to have that gun pointed at the bad person, it just doesn't seem like it'd be easy to do. Like a holster, it comes up, turns wrist out towards target. That seems a little bit more easier as long as we can get our garments off of our gun in a timely manner, which is something you should be practicing on a regular basis, because one of the biggest things that helps is the most people in these defensive classes is when they go to draw their holster or put their holster back in, their shirts get in the way. So we got to pull up the shirt enough. That's why we always recommend you reach up and grab with your non-dominant hand and pull that shirt up to get it off the holster. So when you bring it out of the holster. You only got to bring the gun out enough to get it out of the holster. Then turn your wrist. That right there, when you turn your wrist, could be the first shot. Second shot is bringing your hands together, and third shot is full extension. But we have to be aware of where this hand is at all times, because if we were engaging that trigger and pulling it out of that bag, Frank, and now I've got the gun up here and I have to turn it towards this guy, I could make a very bad critical decision there and shoot my hand or discharge that firearm going in no direction towards the bad guy, going towards innocent bystanders. So if that bag's going to be on your body, you got to make sure somehow or another that you transition yourself to get the bag in a straight position. Thank you. And Phil asks, know your state laws on concealed carry? Yes, know your state laws. Yes. And if you're like a Florida resident and you get, or you don't have to be a Florida resident, obviously, you need to know the laws of all the states if you're traveling on a reciprocity permit. Like Florida has non-residents can apply for our Florida Conceal. You don't need to be from Florida. You don't need to come to Florida. We have an online class that gets you done. But then you're going to get 30 states with your non-resident conceal and 36 with your conceal. So technically, you need to understand the laws when you're traveling in your vehicle. Very cool thing about the USCCA, United States Concealed Carry Association, and Delta Defense is they have a mobile reciprocity app, which would give you the states that Florida responds to or reciprocity with, as well as all the laws of those states. Because that changes on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis sometimes, right? One time Virginia was, and they weren't, they was, and they weren't. It all depends on who's the governor at the time about the reciprocity laws. Now Virginia's back on our list. But you need to make sure you understand the laws, because when the firearms, like in Florida, when the firearm law is broken, it's not a slap on the hand. It's not a misdemeanor. It's a felony. It's the first, second, or third degree. So you better make sure you damn well to understand the laws and regulations, because Florida is a transient state, you understand. And that means the cops stopping you today, 2 weeks to a month ago, that guy could have been living in New Jersey. What kind of handgun laws does he know of Florida in 2 weeks? But he is the arresting authority, you understand. And once you get busted for something like that, you're going to have the court system and all that stuff like that. So you got to understand a couple things. You need to protect yourself with a firearm, but protect yourself legally with some kind of concealed carry insurance like the USCCA, because it does give you the protection. It gives you the attorney, gives you bond, and all the stuff. Concealed, the class is only one part. The training is only one part. It's the whole system we need to put together to make sure you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family, and you owe it to anybody else out there, especially when you're carrying a weapon. You need to be the safest and the most effective you can be to win. And that takes time behind the gun, and that takes time you getting comfortable. Those people that come to class who've never shot a pistol before, a large percentage of those people never really get their conceal, because they decided after the class that I tell them, hey, listen, you have the opportunity here to take a gun. We offer a discounted rate for our firearms training classes when they come to one of the concealed carries. You give me some money, here's a discount for you. Go ahead and sign up for one of our classes. Now, we get a large percentage of people that do sign up once they realize, ooh, I'm stepping into something I don't even think about. I'm thinking about carrying a gun, but I never shot one before. I mean, it makes no sense to me, but it's one step at a time. They think it's a stepping stone. I think it's a big learning curve for you, because we know in high stress, muscle memory has to kick in somewhere along the line, or we're not going to win. So this is Chris Haas. Chris is one of our members. He's been here a long time. He was new to shooting. It's been almost a year and a half. Um, and Chris has bought a couple pistols from us. But Chris says, I have been considering getting a couple of inexpensive pistols for staging purposes. But my concern is if someone broke in when I wasn't home and they took the firearm uh, that wasn't locked up. Yeah, Chris, I can see that. But there are a lot of different stuff nowadays, Chris. I don't know if you've heard about the magnets, the magnet ones. You can put this gun on a magnet, put it somewhere. They're only talking in realms, okay? I'm not going to say that never happens, but most of the time, bad guys are going one place and one place only, to the master bedroom. That's where most of the weapons, gold, drugs, and jewelry are. And that's where they're going to go first. They're not going into the third bedroom, going to the curio cabinet to get a bunch of crap out of there. And Chris, is as simple as it is with those push button little locky things, you could actually push button it just enough. I'm not crazy about having beep beep boop 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 numbers, button push, flops down, gun comes out, but you could do that. But just as easy, you can stage it somewhere. Because most likely for you, Chris, it's going to be your bedroom. It could be kitchen, would be an ideal place. Your pool area there, going in and out of the pool, maybe, or maybe in the laundry room. I have a buddy of mine, Bear. He just a little while ago, Bear's got paint cans in this. Oh, I shouldn't say anything, but the paint cans in the garage kind of deal, and he's got a special one in there that's got the firearm in it. You know, you want to have these things all over the house. And technically, Chris, if they broke into your home and you reported them stolen, I know you feel bad about losing the money, but you've done what you can do. You're not required in Florida to lock up a firearm inside your home. I mean, mentally, I mean, you feel bad if someone broke it and stole it, but if they're breaking into your home, you're not required to have a gun locked up in your home. You can't save yourself with a firearm if it's locked up in your home, if that makes sense. But that's not a bad idea, Chris. The Taurus line would be a great line. You're familiar with it, the G2s, the G3s. I mean, those are inexpensive, less than a couple $100, 200 or 200 plus. Get the G2. G2s or G2Cs are on sale right now because they're getting rid of that model, so it isn't going to be so. You might be able to find something like that or something you're comfortable with. Yeah, Kurt just mentioned. Hey, thanks, Franks, for saying thank you. Kurt was talking about the 21-foot rule. Kurt Richards says it takes 1.5 seconds to travel 21 feet. So most of the time, you only have about zero point 0.5 seconds to react to most situations. And how true is that? That's that whole 21-foot rule that I have a video on in my YouTube channel. But when you are seeing how close a person can get to you. That's why when you're standing there with a firearm in your hand and a bad guy has a bladed weapon on them, they're 10 times more dangerous than a firearm because that bladed weapon can be in you and jabbed in you 4 or 5, 6 times before you even know it. And making that decision. That's why when you watch all these cop interactions on YouTube, the cops are never going towards the bad guy. They're keeping that 21 to 25-foot distance from them because that gives you, once you get past 21 foot, you get that extra maybe second and a half because of the distance of traveling. So you want to keep that distance far enough away that you have the ability and watch what you're doing there. Very good, Kurt. Thank you very much. And Chris said, "Thank you." That's what I was really considering. I could, it could be legally a responsibility if you're not. No, yeah, no. There's dumbasses leave guns in cars all over the place, and no one's getting in trouble for that, Chris. Realistic, if they're in your home, they broke into your home. You do not have a gun. You don't need to have a gun lock. Now, okay, if you have children, which you do not, if you have little kids, which you do not, people should never have a firearm available for anybody who is a child, can touch it, use it, or see it. Does that make sense? But since you are single and you are living by yourself, Chris, there is no responsibility for you having them locked up. Now, security reasons, I understand what you're saying. Someone breaks in and steals them, you'd feel somewhat obligated. But once you report them stolen, they're stolen. There's nothing you can do about it. All right. Well, it has been an hour and 16 minutes. I appreciate all the questions. I love this stuff when you ask the questions. It makes the day go by quicker and everything else like that. I had thought about before doing a full Q&A, question and answer, but it's hard for us to. I want to give you some information and then get some Q&As from you, but this is perfect. Thank you guys all for being here this evening. God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line of defense. If God willing, I'll see you next Tuesday, same time, same channel. Oh, hey, by the way, make sure you check out the YouTube link and make sure that you are subscribed if you can. We had a very cool milestone just the other day. We busted 40,000 subscribers. 40,000 subscribers. Pretty awesome. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you all for this evening. I appreciate you very much. If you have time to come by and see us, stop by and see us. If you want to send us some information, we respond to all of our comments. Until next time, I love you guys. We'll see you on the backside.